celebrating 12 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Kim Williams, Part 2.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. This is Part 2 of my interview with Kim Williams, and I pay attention to these things now. I just had a surge of joy. Just joy. I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm here too, Halloran. I'm enjoying it. I mean, you have a way you have a way.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for the joy that you've delivered. I don't even know if you intended to deliver this much, but it was just like, man, I'm just so happy to have you here, and I think I'm so happy about your openness with your story, and you've learned so much. You've had 4 near-death experiences.
Yeah.
In the shadow.
In the shadow.
What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel? What did you learn?
Okay. A little bit ticked off about this, but I've read so many near-death experiences, and I've been as close as anybody, probably 4 times. I didn't see any of that stuff. Now, I'm not saying it ain't there. I really do believe. I read some of these stories, and something's going on. I really believe that, but it didn't happen to me. But a lot of spiritual changes did take place because of those. Mainly the first one.
Like what?
Well, I learned after a while, after all the struggles, and it was a struggle. Without my wife, Phyllis, I would not have made it at all. I tried my best to die. I wanted to die, and I decided, laying there in the bed, drugged up and in pain, and knowing I'm just burned all to pieces. She would show up. She never missed a day. The whole time I was in the hospital. I mean, all through the 10 years she was there. But I decided if I was mean to her, we'd only been married 2 years, if I was mean to her, she would get on with her life and forget me. And it didn't happen. She didn't run, and so it was because of her that I really made it through. I mean, she just wouldn't give up. She just kept coming.
Did she ever tell you why she stayed?
I don't know if I ever asked.
You know, for a man, you know, we want our looks. We want to look good. We want to attract. We want to attract women. We want to do whatever that thing is that is primal in every man. And so you get burned over how much of your body?
Well, it was waist up. I don't know what those figures are, but
so you stand and you look at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then you're around all these other guys and stuff, and
yeah.
It's got to do something to your sense of self. And why would she want to stay with?
Yeah, I really wrestle with that, and I even wrote a song that came out of the idea with Skip Ewan, which was a hit for Randy Travis, and the name of the song was "Stranger in My Mirror." And of course, we wrote it about the guy is strange because he's in love and he's not paying attention. He's cutting himself shaving. But it was very odd to look in the mirror and see what I saw. It wasn't me. For a long time, it wasn't me. It is me now, you know. But it took some adapting to see me again. And I can't really tell you personally what she went through, but all I know is she stuck, and she stuck tight, and she took care of me. And but we were laughing earlier that we're talking about our looks, and we do. A lot of us take a lot of pride in them, and I still try to dress right and look as good as I can for who I am. But here's the thing, I was joking about it, but it's true. I lost all my vanity in a flash.
Literally.
literally lost all my vanity in a flash. And
does it free you up?
What?
Does losing your vanity free you up at some point?
It is freeing. It is freeing because, and you also realize too, the idea that after a while, when you pick up your friends and you see who's still standing, especially your soulmate is still there, and you start seeing that it's true. Beauty is skin deep. You know, it is.
My guest is Kim Williams. We'll take a break.
Okay.
We have so much time to spend together, and thank you for staying here for part two. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
As close as I've ever come to being spiritual is songwriting, because things will come to you like that in holes. They just come in, and it's almost shocking. I mean, you go like, did I say that?
Anything is possible. Here's my proof. Kim Williams, here's my proof.
How do you mean that now, Howard?
The best way. Read me that quote from Booker T. Washington.
All right, this is my favorite adversity quote, and adversity has become, as we talked about, almost everybody looks upon adversity as an enemy, but I've learned that adversity can be your best friend, and depends on what you do with it. But I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position one has reached in life as by the obstacles he has overcome while choosing to succeed. Out of the hard and unusual struggle through which one is compelled to pass, he gets a strength and a confidence that another might miss, whose pathway is comparatively smooth by reason of birth, race, or circumstance. Booker T. Washington, founder of Tuskegee Institute.
Wow.
The Tuskegee Flyers. Our new quarterback loves the Tuskegee Flyers, you know.
Wow.
But that's my favorite adversity quote, because I think he knew what I found out is that, but for the adversity, I would not have made it in the writing, because I would have been, I was fairly safe and secure, comfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do our best things when we're forced out of our what is that space they call
Comfort
it?
zone.
Comfort zone. Comfort zone.
Yeah, because you would have been at the plant. You would have moved up.
Yeah, I might have made a foreman or
boat,
whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, all those are good jobs. Don't get me wrong. But I would have never known how far I could fly if I hadn't been knocked down hard enough. And I mean that really is a. I tell a lot of people, God had to hit me very hard to get me out of my ways. I was pretty set.
I knew that one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about music. Let's talk about songwriting. Oh God, I've been waiting for this interview. Man. This is just good. I love words. I love music too. I love melody, and I like words.
Yeah.
Would you tell me some of your favorite lyric lines that you've written, that you've been inspired? When you finished them, you pulled back and you said, "Dang it, that's some good stuff."
Well, one, when you say that, I remember one of the hardest parts about a song is that they say to have a hit song, you've only got 5 seconds to catch somebody,
Absolutely.
or they're going to turn that radio down.
Right.
So I always worked hard on opening lines, but I had this idea. I was really struggling. Garth Brooks had already signed a deal. I still hadn't had Devil Dance yet, so I didn't know if it was good or not. I just knew I was working hard. Devil Dance was written, but not cut, and not a hit. Certainly not a hit. But I was writing with Garth Brooks every Monday, and he had signed with Capitol. I'd written like 4 songs, and his manager wouldn't demo them. And looking back, they probably weren't demoable, but I wanted a demo. So his manager, Bob Doyle, was a pilot in Vietnam, and he had all these pictures of fighter planes in his office. And I thought, I need to get something that's going to get his attention if we're going to get a demo. So I had this idea, new way to fly. That was just that's all I had. New way to fly. I don't know why. It just new way to fly. And I was traveling down to Nashville on a Sunday, I-40 around Strawberry Plains. I won't forget this because it just stuck my memory. But I look out like we all have 1,000 times, and I see all these birds on the line. And I swear to you, on a stack of Bibles right here, these two lines came fully formed. It wasn't like, no, I got to do this. Yeah, I got to do that. It wasn't like right brain, or left brain, I'm sorry, adding arithmetic, 1 plus 1 is 2.
Right.
It was whole. It was right brain whole. It just came into my head, and it's the first two lines of that song. And I took those two and the hook to Garth, and we wrote this song, which was on the No Fences album. 16 million, I think it sold last I heard. Anyway, it says, like birds on a high line, they line up at nighttime at the bar. They all once were lovebirds. Now bluebirds are all that they are. And yeah, it's just, and it's amazing how it just kind of popped in there.
No, run that back for me. Oh gosh, that's
like
good.
Like birds on a high line, they line up at nighttime at the bar. They all once were lovebirds. Now bluebirds are all that they are. And
I gotta give you that.
but
Good.
it's almost chilling. And I know you know this, and I don't want to get into religiosity, but I am going to get into spirituality.
Right.
As close as I've ever come to being spiritual is songwriting, because things will come to you like that in holes. They just come in, and it's almost shocking. I mean, you go like, did I say that? Where did it come from?
I got a theory. You said something before we started the interview. You said all of us musicians and creatives are manic depressives. We go up.
No, well, I said all, but I mean a good. It is a high percentage. Yeah.
But you know what I figured out about it? I believe that, and let's just say it this way, I believe that God grants some a hypersensitivity. The blue is bluer.
Yeah.
The water's colder. The sunrise is more brilliant.
Yeah.
And we are given that hypersensitivity so that we can translate it, so that we can down convert it, so everybody else can get some.
That's true, and,
right?
and I think it's often a curse for the individual,
well,
but it's a blessing for society.
Right, because you carry that same hypersensitivity into all your relationships.
Everything.
And so it's like if your nerve endings were extra sensitive all the time. That's what happens.
Speaking of that, we had another song that we had written the whole chorus. A guy come in, Randy Boudreaux come in my office, and a guy named David Lewis, and we were all spending time away from our family. I still hadn't moved my family down, and David was from Texas. His family's in Texas, and Boudreaux's family was in Louisiana. And he come in with this idea of, good night, sweethearts, sleep tight wherever you are. And of course, I knew there was an old song called Good Night, Sweetheart, but that didn't bother me. Sometimes there's several titles have been written over and over different ways. But I said, why don't he know where she's at? Or why don't she know where he's at? And instead of this saying, I don't know why, he said, I don't know, but I ain't changing it. And I said, oh, it's okay. I said, let's just write it. And we wrote the chorus. And then I was still worried about, why don't she know where he's at? So we put him traveling. And in country music, a lot of times that used to be trains. They wore the train thing out. And I thought a car would be too ordinary. So it just hit me that it should be a plane. And there again, this kind of a spiritual thing took over. And I'm not saying it came as whole as it did with New Way to Fly, but it was part whole and part fix it, the left brain fixing it, But it ended up being window seat, 30,000 feet above the ground, blue moon beams on silver wings bring me down. And that's Elton and Lyons' Good Night, Sweetheart, which was a hit for David Kirsch. But it is both. It's both, and I call it flow.
No, you need to slow down and let me absorb that moment. Dang! The way you visualize, though, that's the one thing I notice about your music is you grab things that have strong visual connection. The storyteller was telling me the more senses you can reference.
That's it.
Can they taste something? Can they smell something? Can they see something? Can they feel something?
And the best example of that ever is Margaritaville. Buffett ended up getting, I think, all five senses, if not four of them, within a verse almost. Smell the shrimp boiling, and he got every sense in that song. I mean, it's amazing.
You are a gift. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap this up with the stuff that we've learned. Kim Williams is my guest. This is Anything is Possible. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I get to do this. You got to be kidding me. Anything is possible.
Coming up.
Joseph Campbell called it following your bliss. And I didn't know what bliss was for sure until I found songwriting and got into it.
This week, our Home Federal Community Spotlight is on Wesley House Community Center. Did you know that since 1907, the Wesley House has served Knoxville, focusing on academic, spiritual, emotional, and social growth for children and families? To learn more and see how you can get involved, visit wesleyhouse.com.
I don't know about you, but I'm collecting best friends.
Me too.
I got me another one right here. This man right here. We're going to write something together.
Here we are.
Kim Williams is my guest on Anything is Possible. Wow. Like I told you, I just felt supreme joy just having you here on set today. What have you learned about possibility? Let's talk about what you've learned. If let's say, for instance, a creative person or a songwriter or a person that's just trying to do life after life.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, let me tell you a story from Bobby Wood is a piano player. He played on from Vegas to Memphis, Memphis to Vegas, all the Elvis comeback stuff. Then he came to Nashville and he's played on everything you've heard on Garth. He did the dance. The dance, the little lead in, that's just haunting. And the way he did that, Garth told him to think, anyway, it's about a Western. It's a scene out of a Western. Said, think about that and play the intro. And that's how it got. But anyway, we were talking one day, and I was just talking about faith. But he goes to church every day, and I believe he's a sincere Christian. And I said, you know, the Bible said, Christ said in the Bible, if you got the faith of a grain of mustard seed, you can say to that mountain, move, and it'll move. And Bobby said, yeah, but Kim, that's just figurative language. I said, wait there, Bobby. Are you telling me that God, or God's Spirit Son, came onto this earth in human form through immaculate birth in Mary, and he walked on water, and he healed the blind and the crippled, and he made water out of wine, and he brought the dead back to life, and then when he was crucified, he came back to life and ascended into heaven. And yet he's just fooling around when he said, if you got the faith of a grain of mustard seed. And Bobby said, got real quiet. He said, wow, I never thought about it that way before. But I really believe, you can't fake faith. You can't say, oh yeah, I got the faith, because you won't make it. I mean, an awful lot of people say, I got the faith, and grab these rattlesnakes and end up dead. But I do believe if you got the faith, I believe they're right. I don't think those snakes will hurt them if the faith is right. But it's up here. There's a new book that's not been out long called The Biology of Belief.
I've read it.
It's incredible.
Lipton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, The Biology of Belief.
You
cannot fake it, but we believe so many things. We go to a position, and a lot of times it works. The placebo effect, as he called it, or the nocebo effect. If you think something won't work, it won't work. And it's hard to fool yourself about it. But the possibilities are endless.
But you've got to believe.
You got to believe. That's it. But I think instead of believing in myself, I just got so enthralled. Joseph Campbell called it following your bliss. And I didn't know what bliss was for sure until I found songwriting and got into it. And I went songwriting one day. A guy named Ron Harbin called me. He ran a pizza parlor, and he was doing it on the side. He ended up writing for me later. He had a lot of hits. But he had this idea. So we started writing at about 6 that morning over the phone and got together and wrote some. Anyway, I had 4 writing sessions that day. The 4th one was with Clay Walker, the first time I'd met him. And we're sitting there. We wrote a song. And it was a pretty good song. I don't think it was ever cut, but 10 o'clock at night, somebody said, "It's 10 o'clock. I went, "No way." I just sat down.
That's it.
There was no time. The time, I think even when spiritual people talk about eternity, they're not talking about a long time. They're talking about being so involved in the moment that the moment is eternity. And that's what bliss is. And I don't think it was necessarily faith in myself that done it. I just got so enthralled with what I was doing. But I do believe in possibilities because of faith, and because somebody said, "Do what you love and the money will follow." And that's what I've told my daughter. I said, do what you love till you're hungry. Then go do something to get you a hamburger or whatever you're going to eat. Then go back and do life is too short not to do what you love.
Wow.
It is too short.
Thank you, Kim Williams.
Thank you, Howard.
For bringing some of that bliss over here today. And I told you, I said I felt this joy, and look at the time, just went away. Thank you for being here.
Thank you,
God
Howard.
bless you.
You're a good man.
We'll see you next time on Anything is Possible.